Hey there folks, I am the Mighty Plantain. Thanks for checking out this video. We have got the Summer Squeeze Variety Pack from Sam Adams. They've gotten into this habit of just giving them cute little names instead of just saying Summer Variety Pack or Summer 2022 Variety Pack or Winter 2022, that's coming up, Variety Pack. It was Summer Squeeze. The Spring Pack was Game Day Beers. Now, Game Day Beers used to not be the Spring Pack. It used to be a separate release, but apparently it's now taken the place of the Spring Pack or vice versa or whatever. But they're spring beers and they're football related. So anyway, we're not worrying about those. We're worrying about Sam Adams Summer Squeeze Variety Pack, but I ain't gonna squeeze it. I'm gonna fucking drink it. I mean, I could squeeze the bottles, but that could get messy. Anyway, what we're dealing with, we have the Sam Adams Summer Ale, no surprise there. Porch Rocker, a summer favorite. Beach Session IPA, which I believe was the new summer beer last year, and I'm glad it's back because I remember it being pretty damn good. And the brand new Tropical Wheat Ale, juicy and refreshing is what it says on here. So, I believe what we're going to do is we're going to start with the summer ale, and now I'm organizing these in order of IBUs, International Bitterness Units. For those who don't know, which is not very many people who are actually watching this video, so I'll keep this short and sweet. A hoppy and bitter beer can wreck your palate faster than anything else. So, under normal circumstances, I would recommend going from your heavier ABV, alcohol by volume, beers down to your lower. That way you're getting the most alcohol into your system earlier, and then you're kind of tapering it off as the night goes on so that you don't risk going from low to high. And, you know, the same idea as liquor before beer, you're in the clear, and beer before liquor, never sicker. You don't want to go from a lower alcohol content consumption to a higher, because then you're just setting yourself up for a bad night. Anyway, so normally you would go from high ABV to low, but in the case of beer tasting, you want to go from your higher IBUs, or your lower IBUs to your higher. Your international bitterness units are going to, like I said, the bitterness from hops will wreck your palate faster than anything else. So you want to go from the low to the high. And in terms of these beers, the alcohol by volume is close enough that it's not going to be that big of a deal. But again, it's also with beer tasting, the general rule of thumb is to go from lighter to darker beers. But again, if you throw a nice light-colored IPA out there that happens to have 50 IBUs versus a completely black as midnight stout that's only got 10 IBUs, you still want to do the stout before the lighter colored IPA, because again, that bitterness will wreck your palate faster than the heavier, darker beer flavor will. So, got that out of the way for those of you who don't know. For those of you who do, sorry, I know you hear it on every one of these variety pack videos, but I gotta reiterate it for the newcomers and the rookies. So, also, it's a good way to spot a rookie bartender if you order a flight of beers and they organize them from light to dark without taking the bitter IPAs into account, or double IPAs or triple IPAs, then you know the bartender doesn't know their shit. Anyway, so we're starting off with Sam Adams Summer Ale. This is a citrus wheat ale. Now it's at 5.3% ABV and 8 IBUs. I'm going to follow that up with the Porch Rocker. Now that's also at 8 IBUs, but it's got a lower alcohol content, so good plan there. And then I believe it only lists the ABV here on the box, but I checked the IBUs ahead of time. I believe we're going to do the Tropical Wheat Ale third, and then we're going to follow up fourth with the Beach Session IPA because it's the highest IBUs. I'll double check that as I go. But Sam Adams Summer Ale first. Now, for those of you also who are new, you'll know that the summer pack is not one of my favorite Sam Adams packs. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, But I also prefer the heavier, darker beers found in the fall and winter packs, and sometimes the variety of flavors found in the spring pack. But the summer tends to have a lot of light, summery, easy drinking beers, which is not a bad thing in the hot weather. But for me, flavor-wise, it's kind of flat compared to the others. Now, we will be cleansing with water in between these beers, which is always a good idea when doing beer tastings as well. But there we are, a nice, light, pretty effervescent beer. It did not hold on to the head. I didn't get a good one on there to begin with, but there's plenty of bubbles coming up through there. Now, this is hazier than it used to be. Sam Adams Summer Ale used to be a clearer beer, but at some point they introduced a little bit of haze. They reformulated it to make it lighter and crisper than it was before, but they also added some haze and a little bit of a body and I believe some bitterness to it, because it's always been a bit of a citrusy beer. Just a nice general light, beery, grainy, beery aroma. I mean, it's a wheat beer. You can tell that it's a wheat beer just from the aromas. It's got that nice light graininess to it, as opposed to the dark graininess in a stout. Anyway, yeah, just a nice light, beery aroma. You could almost mistake this for something like Bud Light, Miller Lite, or Coors Light, just based on the fact that it has that light, beery aroma. But there's no hint of skunkiness that there is with those other beers. And it's got a crisp nose to it. All right. Nice, light mouthfeel, crisp finish up front. A general light, grainy beeriness as it rolls off the back of the tongue. You get a hint of citrus after you swallow, a bit of a citrus bite to it, but it's a very smooth beer to citrus transition. I hesitate to say this because I could be off the mark, but tonight, and this might not jive with my previous reviews of this beer, but tonight it's hitting me similar to a Radler in that swallow. And just for a couple of seconds there, after you swallow and you start getting some airflow over the palate, it's very distinctly a wheat beer with that light graininess in the finish, but when the graininess from the beer and the citrus kind of intersect, it almost gives you a bit of a Radler taste. So not bad, not one of my favorites. Light, crisp, easy to drink, smooth as all get out. It's not a bad beer. If it was a little bit fucking warmer, I'd be enjoying it more. Welcome to Maine, folks. It is May 20th, by the way. And we went from a week where it was in the 80s, maybe even the 90s indoors because the house baked in the sun. I had the AC on, to a night where I'm debating putting the fucking furnace back on. We're at 65 degrees on May 20th indoors. And it's actually probably a few degrees chillier outside. We got some sun between like 3 and 5 p.m. that warmed things up to the point where I was running around outdoors without a sweatshirt on. But then after around 6 or 7, I felt like I needed to put the sweatshirt back on. Anyway, fucking Maine weather. So, hitting this with a 3.5 out of 5. I think that's pretty consistent with my previous ratings of the summer ale. It might actually be a little bit higher than last year. I don't know. But tonight, I'm really feeling it. It's good. 3.5 out of 5. Now, I will try to repeat myself at a minimum tonight. So I've covered all the bases about ABV, IBUs, and all that shit. So I'm going to throw one more bit out there on a scale of 1 to 5. 2.5 is average, so a 3.5 is pretty well above average. It's good beer. It's solid. Again, not something I'm going to gravitate towards most of the year, but in the summer, pardon, it's a great alternative to some others. I mean, if you're just sitting out in the hot sun and waiting to get drunk, Coors Light is your go-to because it's beer-flavored beer, goes down easy, it's like water, and it'll eventually get you drunk. Damn. Lots of gas coming back up. Pardon. But anyway, tonight, Sam Adams Summer Ale, 3.5 out of 5. We're going to finish this up. Move on to Porch Rocker. All right, I just checked the thermostat, and somehow after the sun went down, the temperature has actually gone up in here. It was, I think I said 64 before, but it was actually 65 last time I looked at the thermostat. It was around 8 or 9 p.m., and now at 10:43 p.m., 10:45 p.m., let's just say, it's 66. The temp has gone up a degree after the sun went down. That's unusual, but it does happen. Anyway, I've talked about Radlers before, and this is an actual Radler. Porch Rocker Lemon Radler, 4.5% ABV, 8 IBUs. And again, German cyclists who mixed beer with lemon lime flavors after a tough ride. In Porch Rocker, we brewed a Golden Hells combined with a smooth, effervescent lemon lime taste that'll kick the heat out of any summer day. All right. I know I didn't read the label on the Summer Ale, and I probably won't read it off the other two because sometimes that'll influence my opinion of the taste. Just knowing what I'm supposed to taste, I can sometimes put that mental image in my head and make me... Anyway, you know what I'm saying. But I decided to read the label on that one, hoping that it would give a little bit more of an explanation as to what a Radler is, but it didn't. Look at that. That is still a nice, light yellow beer, but it is not hazy like the Summer Ale. Well, it's a little bit hazy. Ooh, pardon. Damn. A little bit hazy, but not quite as much. Slightly, well, much less effervescent. It's way fewer bubbles coming up through there. And there's almost a golden or bronze, maybe bronze or copper hue to the yellowish beer. Lots of gas bubbles tonight. Tends to happen with some of the lighter beers, especially when I drink them faster. Nice light graininess in the aroma, but definitely a distinct citrusy smell as well. And almost like a citrus peel. Like that odd combination of citrusy, sweet, and bitter that you get from the white flesh underneath the peel of a citrus fruit. Also a nice light mouthfeel, but the second it hits your tongue, now right on the tip of the tongue, there's a nice lemon lime flavor. Followed by a light beeriness, and then again a hint of a citrusy finish. Also an easy to drink beer. Goes down very smooth. It's clear, crisp, and refreshing. It's also another perfect beer for a nice hot summer day. It's not quite tickling my fancy, you know, like certain beers do. And it's, again, it's in a niche. On a hot summer day, it's perfect. Otherwise, it's just kind of there. This one, I'm also hitting with a 3.5 out of 5. Not fucking bad, but again, not blowing me away either. I'm going to finish this one up, cleanse with some water again, and then we're going to move on to the The new one, the Tropical Wheat Ale, I believe. I'm going to double check the IBUs and ABV on those, but I'm pretty sure that the Tropical Wheat Ale is a lower IBU than the Beach Session IPA. Just don't quite remember, so I gotta confirm. Anyway, one of those two is next. Alright, so next up is the Tropical Wheat Ale. Just says juicy and refreshing, 5% ABV and 25 IBUs. So we have more than tripled the IBUs from the last one, but we're still not quite up to the, I believe it's 30 in the Beach Session IPA. So this is the new beer in this year's summer pack. And apparently I'm having some issues getting a bite on it with the bottle opener. Interesting. All right. The other beers in the pack, I kind of know what to expect because I've had them before. This one's brand new, so I'm not sure what to look for here. Okay, slightly hazy, fairly effervescent, but mostly a nice, clear, it's almost an orangish hue, like a golden, it's not quite gold though, maybe brass colored beer. What's that for a descriptor? Anybody ever described a beer as brass colored before? I'm sure they have. Just, wow. What was up with that fucking lilt in my voice implying that I was saying something profound? Anyway, yeah. That's almost smoky. Tropical Wheat Ale. I mean, there's definitely a distinct light graininess to it, but there's a hint of a smoky aroma underneath that. Almost like a tropical campfire, if I really want to get into it. Tropical campfire on a beach. There's not really any salty air aroma, but just like this light smokiness that reminds me of the soft woods you would burn on a beach for that kind of campfire. Okay. I'm getting way too into that. I don't know, that's just what I'm getting. Yeah, still smoky. I mean, nice light mouthfeel. Very grainy. Still smoky. Quite smoky. A hint of grassy and floral. From whatever hop blend they've got in there. And if there's any hops at all lending to that IBUs, but there's got to be some hops in there, right? Light smoky, grassy, floral. Not quite hitting any woody notes, but very grainy. Yet still extremely light. Huh. That one's got my attention. Summer's brief, so savor every moment in the sun with this easy drinking, yes, wheat ale with tropical bursts of mango and guava. And a bright citrus aroma. Wow. Each sip of this brew is as refreshing as a 2-week vacation. Well, I kind of agree with that last sentiment, but I'm not getting any of the fruitiness. I mean, there's, I don't know, maybe a hint of sweetness, sweet fruitiness, but I'm not really getting it. Now, for me, mango, any sort of artificial mango flavor doesn't sit well. It actually tends towards bitterness, and it doesn't work for me. I mean, in some cases, artificial mango flavor does work. Natural mango flavor absolutely works for me. In the case of some, well, truly seltzers, their margarita blend, their mango chili, the mango in that was actually really good. I liked it. In this case, I'm not getting any sort of sweetness at all, much less a fruity sweetness. Definitely not a specific guava or mango. Fruity sweetness. I'm getting smokiness. I mean, don't get me wrong. In the case of this pack, this is actually kind of impressing me. It's not quite that wow or I'm blown away reaction, because there's flavors in here that I have had in other beers. I'm hovering here. Because a light, crisp, easy drinking summer beer with that smokiness, the hint of bitterness, the slightly woody, let's be honest, slightly woody flavor. It runs counter to what they describe on the label. Excuse me. I'm trying to decide whether that gets it extra points or not. I'm going to go with the not. I'm going to hit this with a 4.5 out of 5. Mostly because, again, it's got that summer beach campfire vibe to it. And there's a grainy, smoky character that does not match what they're describing on the label. I'm not getting the big reason that it's not a full-on 5 out of 5 is because I'm not getting that fruity, specifically guava and mango flavor. Now, if I had guava and mango in there in some way, shape, or form, then I would 100% agree with their description on the label and have those added elements of the unexpected smokiness. So I'm keeping it down to a 4.5 out of 5 because it's good. I got nothing bad to say about it. And it's unexpected, but it's losing a few points for not matching up to the label description and not giving me that wow or perfect reaction. So, definitely a solid beer, and one I'm going to be interested to hear other people's opinions of. But all right, I'm going to finish up the Tropical Wheat Ale, and we're going to move on to the fourth and final with the Beach Session IPA. Again, 3 beers in this pack are not new. Beach Session IPA was new last year, I believe. So no surprises in this pack except this guy right here. I anticipate, maybe the Beach Session IPA will blow me away differently than it did last year, but this one's definitely been a surprise. And yeah. All right. Beach Session IPA is next, after I finish this up and cleanse with some water. All right. One quick remark about the Tropical Wheat Ale. After I finished it up, and I was, drinking water, rinsing out the glass, walking around, I did get some hints of tropical fruit. Not specifically guava or mango, just a nice, sweet, tropical, fruity aftertaste. But I didn't get it while I was drinking the beer, so my rating stands. Finally, we have the Beach Session IPA. Again, this was new last year. In the summer pack. And IPAs are not always a good fit in the summer, but the right IPA is. And if I remember correctly, this one did work out pretty well. But it's been a full year since I've had one. Close enough to a full year anyway. Oh, look at that. That has got a nice glow about it under the light. Or above the light, technically. It's a hazy beer. Lightly effervescent. Well, yeah, there's more bubbles coming up around the rim down there. So, slightly effervescent, but definitely hazy. And got like a nice light yellow glow down there that darkens to a golden color up top. But definitely a glow about it. It seems to like refract and reflect the light. I may have had a drink or two before doing this variety pack. May have. Which explains why my tongue is a little bit tied, but it's got a nice light crisp aroma, hint of tropical fruitiness to it. Maybe coconut? I'm trying to think back to what it said on the label last year, but I'm thinking there's a hint of coconut there. All right. Medium light mouthfeel. It's got some body to it. Now, this one's only at 30 IBUs versus the 25 in the last beer and the 8 in the first two, but it is definitely an IPA. Because you're definitely getting some hoppiness to it. Now, 25 and 30, not a huge difference in your international bitterness units, but between the two beers, this is definitely more bitter and it's definitely more hoppy. I mean, it's got a nice, solid, grainy backbone. Hint of smokiness. Slight bit of tropical fruitiness. An overall hoppy bitterness in there. Some citrus. A little bit of grassiness and earthiness. Maybe hints of floral as well. Now, I'm mostly keyed towards citrus and pine in terms of hop esters. So I'm getting the citrus for sure, but I'm not getting any pine. The fact that I'm getting some earthiness, some grassiness, and some hints of tropical fruit, that's a different experience for me. The earthiness and grassiness alone, because those are mostly hop esters. Tropical fruit, not so much. I'm trying to think back to what I said about this last year, but bright and lively, this beer boasts a crisp tropical aroma from mosaic hops and a clean finish. We recommend drinking it cold at sea level. Okay, so that tells me nothing about what I should be tasting. So what I am tasting is what it is. Again, what I tasted in The tropical wheat ale kind of contradicted what the label said I should taste, but that's the thing about beer and individual tastes. A lot of this is subjective, and because of the way we're all wired differently, my experience might not be the same as yours. So, anyway, I'm hitting the Beach Session IPA with a 4 out of 5. It's got some distinctly different characteristics than most IPAs that I drink, while also being an easy drinking, smooth summer beer, which is not always the case for IPAs. IPAs tend to have a cloyingness to them that, for some people who don't drink a lot of IPAs, don't pick up on. They just think, oh, it's hoppy, it's going to get you drunk fast. There's no subtlety there for those folks. This one is not cloyingly hoppy, which seems to be the goal for a lot of brewers these days. Just dump as much hops as you can. And it's got a more subtle hoppy character to it, but still light, medium light mouthfeel, but still light, crisp, and refreshing enough that it's not overwhelmingly like fucking hop juice slapping you in the face. So, pardon. Damn, these were all bringing up the gas bubbles. Anyway, 4 out of 5 on the Beach Session IPA. It's pretty good. Can't remember what I rated it last year, but again, that whole beer taste is subjective thing. It can even change depending on your mood and your setting. So, anyway, that's just what I have to say about these. Hit me up down below in the comments or the email link. Love to hear what you have to say about these beers, especially the new tropical wheat ale. I want to know if I'm completely off base there with that smoky, non-fruity flavor, or if other people are picking up on that, because that's kind of messing with me. The fact that I was so far off from the label description in terms of what I should be tasting versus what I did. Again, beer taste, subjective, it happens, but I just want to know if I'm on the level there or if I'm completely off base. Also, let's talk about the other beers in the pack. Whether you agree with me or disagree, still want to hear from you. Let's talk about it. While you're down there, don't forget to like and share the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Till next time, folks, thanks for tuning in. Keep your beer suggestions coming. I keep track, and I will try to fulfill your viewer requests as they come in and as they become available locally. I'm in central fucking Maine, so, not everything is available here. But I try, and I keep track, and I keep looking. Till next time. Cheers.